This snippet from Prompts for Purpose and Perseverance begins with a quick story to illustrate Prompt 9. Acknowledging the viewpoint of others advances intellectual acuity, enabling increased empathy. As my phone vibrated in my pocket, I couldn't help but feel a little annoyed at the interruption. It seemed that whenever I had just enough time and a moment of clarity to finish another chapter, someone would reach out. This time it was, "Happy birthday." And the person exclaimed as I begrudgingly answered. It wasn't necessarily because I didn't want to talk to her. It was because I had very pronounced opposing views when it comes to politics. Prior to the 2016 election, neither of us had the common sense nor the restraint not to discuss our differences. I say this because after a heated argument about why one should or should not endorse the other's candidate, we did not speak for literally 2 years. Now, in those moments of turmoil that led up to the standoff, we had heard each other's viewpoints but did not acknowledge them. Both of us already had our minds made up. Have you ever been at odds with family or friends due to what you consider to be your core beliefs or values? Listening and acknowledging opposing viewpoints is the first step towards conflict resolution. Now, granted, by doing this, it does not mean that either party must surrender. Listening and acknowledging provides deepened understanding of the issues at hand, but within the confines of differing perspectives. Now think about it. If any of you have ever been involved in formal debate, or maybe you're a lawyer, prosecutor, you know that each exchange adds to the case in some way or another, strengthening or weakening the argument on each side. Debating demonstrates the highest level of comprehension skills. Those of critical thinking, communicating, collaborating, and creativity, thus having the power to advance intellectual acuity of those involved. But when participating parties are only interested in winning, the collateral damage may be irreparable. How can we acknowledge the viewpoints of others in a meaningful way? I can never resist, you know me, a good mnemonic or acronym to bring home the point and make it easy to remember. In this case, let's dive in head first to the middle of the alphabetical pool with P, Q, R, S. First the P, presenting hypotheticals. Then the Q, questioning for more details. R, restating their point. And S, for sympathy versus empathy. Presenting hypotheticals when considering hypotheticals, who doesn't enjoy a good what if? To get our creative juices flowing during a brisk battle of the brains. Presenting a hypothetical question that queries the potential outcome if the other's viewpoint was valid seemingly suggests that in the end there might be room for compromise, even if there isn't. But at least it keeps the communication going without shutting down the other side. It also provides the other side with the opportunity to explore the what ifs in that same way. Next, the Q, questioning for more details. Considering the viewpoints of others becomes even more difficult when critical details are missing from the overall picture. A lack of information has a way of coloring our judgment. This further emphasizes why it is so important to ask as many questions to achieve a panoramic view of the point that they are trying to clarify. Now, restating, that's the R, restating their point. Sometimes when you hear the opposing words come out of your own mouth, it has a different ring to it. When we are hearing something over and over again from the same source, and we have already made a judgment about it, that viewpoint will just continue to fall on deaf ears. By restating the opposing viewpoint, two things could potentially occur. You may feel differently about it and become open to hearing more. Or when the other person hears their words coming from you, they suddenly realize how unreasonable it might be. Not to say that this could happen every time, but keep in mind, this discussion is not about how to win an argument or a debate. It's about listening, acknowledging, getting smarter about the issue, and empathy. Now, to our final strategy for acknowledging others' viewpoints. Sympathy versus empathy. Now, sympathy comes from our ego. You think that only you can fix it, or you've determined that it's unfixable. You've heard it and probably even said, man, I feel sorry for you. Sympathy is more of a feeling of pity for another. If the other person detects this from you, the wall of resistance will certainly come up. Showing empathy, however, will bring you closer to others no matter what the circumstances. Because empathy is our ability to understand how someone feels, while sympathy is our relief in not having the same problem. Now, if you show empathy during exchange of opposing viewpoints, remember that it is not to sway the other person, but to keep the communication open. Now, while speaking to my friend this time around, she asked me if I had voted. I said yes. She then responded with, I'm not voting for either one. And guess what? Against the fire burning in my belly to expunge everything I could muster to fire back at her, I simply changed the subject. At times, that is just the best thing to do. Now, think, how does this apply to your life? How will this encourage perseverance, act as a call to action, and bring you joy? Next time, we will let our imagination soar with creativity with our prompts for purpose and perseverance.